Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about one of the coolest games that I had played back in the summer of 1991. One that gets often forgot about because of how legendary the NES version of it was. I want to talk about Batman, the video game for the Sega Genesis. Roll that intro. So yeah, Batman the video game for the Sega Genesis. It's easily forgotten just because the Nintendo version was so freaking awesome. But this game right here is pretty good also. Most people didn't even know they made a Sega Genesis version. So I thought I'd do a weekend rental review of it. And when you look at the top of this, you see the bright red lettering, Sunsoft. So you know it's going to be damn good. And one little tidbit, on the back of the box, it actually shows a screenshot of the NES game. Check this out. That's not a screenshot from this game. It actually throws you off because it looks exactly like the NES version. But this game is completely different, so I figured I'd talk about it. So let's get into it.
Batman for the Sega Genesis is a side-scrolling action game which was inspired by the 1989 Tim Burton directed Batman movie. It was both developed and published by Sunsoft. In my particular case, I played the NES version first, so seeing this one on the rental shelf back in 1991, I was excited and expecting greatness. Since I was thinking the 8-bit Nintendo version was so good, just imagine what the powerhouse 16-bit Sega Genesis could do with it. It follows the movie's storyline more closely than the NES version of the game, and offers 6 different levels, including Gotham City streets and the Gotham City Cathedral. As soon as you start the game, you are pulled right into the action, with a wall of scrolling text that talks about the events of the original movie, with the background occasionally changing. I remember reading reviews for this game in Electronic Gaming Monthly, which gave it an 8 out of 10, saying it was a great game, but it's incredibly easy. Neither the levels or the bosses don't offer up much of a challenge for the player. The game starts with you walking down the streets of Gotham City, basically learning the controls of the game, learning how to punch, sweep, and double jump, and throw some batarangs along the way to defeat enemies, and learning how to use your grappling hook, because in the later levels you would be using that continuously. But something very weird that I noticed about the game is that you can block gunfire, but you can't block punches, which doesn't make any sense. How can I block a bullet from a gun, but I can't block somebody just walking up and punching me? It's like they got it backwards. Stage 1 is pretty cool. I love the gritty backgrounds with the rain hitting on the streets and just all the awesome nods to the original movie. I love the rain effects and just the backgrounds in general. There's a part where you cross the street and you can see the awesome lighting coming off the street lights in the background. One move that I found myself using all the time was the jump knees to the head. The first boss fight is incredibly easy. Just stand all the way to the left of the screen and fire your batarangs at him. You won't even take a hit. He will go down very quickly. Then on to stage 2. Stage 2 is the chemical plant. This is where you will start using your grappling hook to reach parts of the maps that otherwise you cannot reach. Most of this level has you platforming and getting used to using the grappling hook. This is also where you will start using the mandatory double jump to complete the stage. After you climb to the top of the plant, you will encounter the second boss in the game, Jack. He's incredibly easy though. Just jump up once from the platform under him and hit him, and he will go flying off into the vat of acid. One hit boss? This isn't a good start. Whatever, on to stage 3. Stage 3 is the Flugelheim Museum. Pretty much the same, but with a couple new platforms to tackle to advance the stage. You will also run into falling chandeliers, which I try and just run through because it seems like they have no pattern and they have a mind of their own. What sucks is that you also have to fight enemies that are shooting guns at you during the dodging of the chandeliers, so it can be real tough to not get hit by them. Plus, they took a good bit of energy if you do. For some reason, this stage has 2 bosses. The first is some guy with a big sword. He's not terrible if you just keep jumping over him and hitting him with the double knee drop. Pretty easy. The second boss is even easier. Just move out of the way when he tries to belly flop you and punch him in his grill. Then after beating him, you get to see this cool cutscene where Batman rescues Vicky Vale, just like in the movie. Now on to stage 4. Stage 4 is a cool side-scrolling horizontal driving stage, where you're in the Batmobile driving down the highway of Gotham City, shooting all the cars that run up on you. It actually plays pretty decent. You have a machine gun that you can fire repeatedly, plus you have missiles that you can also shoot. Then you run into a couple armored cars that shoot backwards and try and drop missiles on you. After defeating him, you run into this huge tank that you have to take out before you can return to the streets to beat up some more baddies. This time, you run into some clown type enemies that mix up the repetitiveness of the same ones you keep seeing. After you fight your way up, you fight the boss, which is a ninja type guy that has 2 swords. The easiest way to defeat him is to let him run at you and just jump over him and punch him once. He even jumps back over you so you don't even have to do it, and you can do it over and over until he dies. I don't know why they made the bosses so simple and easy in this game, but they aren't very hard at all. Well, who cares? On to stage 5. Stage 5 has you in another shooting stage, this time flying in the Batwing over Gotham City, shooting at incoming helicopters and big blow-up clowns from the original movie. It's not very hard, but the timing can be kind of tricky to get the hang of. You might die a couple times on this section. The main boss helicopter in this section is pretty easy once you learn his pattern. Just spam the rockets and he shouldn't be a problem. After that, it's back on foot, fighting your way through the cathedral. This section has a top and lower level, so you can jump in between them to fight enemies. It's pretty standard, but the jumping back and forth broke up the monotony of just running to the right and spamming punches. Then the next section is a boss rush, where you fight a couple of previously defeated bosses who just seem to have a color swap. They're all the same in every way, so if you remember their patterns from the first time, you'll be fine. Then you make your way to the top of this huge tower to confront the man himself, the Joker. You use your grappling hook the most in this section, and it's mandatory to progress. The enemies are kind of tough since everyone is on a small platform and they throw things at you to try to knock you off. But just take your time and you should be fine. When you reach the top, you face off against the Jokers. The Joker has 2 attacks, and if either of them hit you, it does insane damage, so be careful. He's actually incredibly easy if you just crouch down and spam the batarangs at him repeatedly. You'll knock him off the tower and it shows him lying dead in the streets. Then some scrolling text appears, and congratulations, you beat Batman for the Sega Genesis. All in all, the game is fun. It has some flaws that mostly deal with how easy the game is, especially if you've played the NES version. But I do like the side-scrolling levels and the platforming in this game. The easy bosses hurts it a little bit. But a good thing I can say about this game is that it follows the storyline of the original movie incredibly well. It's dark, gritty, and I love the overall atmosphere of the game. I feel it's definitely worth playing. You can tell that this is a Sega Genesis game just by the great music and just by how well they stuck to the source material of the movie. I don't know about buying it though, only because a complete in-box copy will run you almost $100 nowadays. But if you can find a cartridge only, definitely pick this one up. It's a great game and a perfect candidate for weekend rentals.
Well, that's my review of Batman, the video game for the Sega Genesis. Such an awesome title, and unfortunately, one that gets forgotten about a lot just because the Nintendo version was so great. But I think it's a very good game. If you guys have any memories of Batman the video game, leave them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep on reminiscing, baby.
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.